Bonjour, mon ami. I am here in Paris, France, visiting Disneyland Paris, and I want to share my experience with everyone. This is my first time visiting Disneyland Paris, and it's very exciting to me because I've never been to France, I've never been to Europe, so I was kind of looking forward to it. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Actually, it's about to be 6 in the morning. I just can't sleep. I think it's due to the jet lag, but I want to talk to everyone. So, I'm not staying in a hotel. I am staying in an apartment that a few ladies are renting out to guests, and I was able to book one for this trip. So, I'm staying in this little apartment, and I'll give you the tour now. So, here's the door where you come from, and then right here you have the bathroom, and it is amazing. There's all my toiletries right there on the sink. There's the shower. Again, we close the door, and then we go to the living area. We have our little kitchen here, and the fridge is actually on built into the cabinets. There's my European water right there. When you go to Europe, make sure you bring an outlet adapter, because that's a European outlet and this is an American outlet. So I failed to realize that. So make sure you bring an adapter. There's the little table. And then right here we have the bed, which is actually a sofa pull-out couch. Here's the TV, and there's the window. It's dark outside, so that's the street light. And because I failed to bring an adapter, I noticed that the little cable box had a USB. So the USB from the cable box is charging my external battery, which is charging my other phone. So that's really neat. Here's the TV, here's the table. One thing that I wanted to also show you guys was the money. So over here we have an American dollar bill. We have a Canadian dollar bill. When I went to Canada, I kept one of the 20s, and I keep it in my wallet for good luck. So that's why I have it. And here is the European or the French currency called the euro. Now euro looks like Monopoly money, because you got the $50 bill, and then you got the $20 bill, the $10 bill, and the $5 bill. There's no $1 bill. They have coins. So let me see if I can find, that's the 50 cent, 20 cent. Okay, so this is the $1, euro, 20 cents, 50 cents, 10 cents. So that's the euro system, which is different from the American currency and the Canadian currency, which in the American currency, every single dollar bill is the same size, no matter the value. And then with Canadian currency, their money is kind of plasticky, and it changes color. The 20 is green, but I think the $10 bill is like blue. But that's my little tour of the apartment. Moving along, the trip so far has been great. It was a 10-hour flight from DFW to the Paris airport. A 10-hour flight, that's a very long time, but I was able to fly through it, make it through it, survive it. It was very nice because in the plane they gave you a little meal. Halfway through they had the option of either chicken or pasta. I got the chicken. I might put a picture on it on the video, but it was a little chicken platter with rice, and it had like a piece of bread and some cheese. It was really nice. And then just before we landed, they gave us a breakfast box, which included yogurt, granola. It was really nice. So a 10-hour flight, I landed in Paris around, I want to say around 9:30 in the morning. And one of the first things that I did was I went through customs, because I am an American, so you have to go to customs and they have to check your passport. After that, I went to a travel booth and I asked them what was the best way to get to Disneyland Paris, and they told me to take the Magical Express, which is a bus that takes you from the airport to the Disneyland Paris resort. It's not free. I did have to pay 23 euros for it, which is about 30 American dollars to ride the bus. It was about a 30-minute drive from the airport to Disneyland Paris resort. Um, it was really exciting. They dropped me off at the Disneyland Hotel, and what's really different about this Disneyland is that the park itself is very accessible. Like, I'll show you guys in a video how I can walk from my apartment that I'm staying to the park within 20 minutes. Something that you can't really do in Disneyland, California, and you can't do that in Magic Kingdom or Walt Disney World. You can't just walk up to the park. But in Disneyland Paris, that is very much possible. You indeed can walk up to the park from the street. I got to the Disneyland Hotel, and from the Disneyland Hotel, I took an Uber to the apartments, which was really close by, but because I don't know the area, I decided to take an Uber. I got to the apartment, it got settled in, and around that time it was like 12:30 in the afternoon, so I was tired, but I was so excited because I saw Disneyland, and I dropped my stuff and I walked to the park. And I went to Disneyland Paris for the very first time, and it was amazing. Disneyland Paris is beautiful. The best way I can describe it is imagine Magic Kingdom, and then imagine that Magic Kingdom is more spread out, like it's more spacious, and then picture the Disneyland Paris castle instead of the Cinderella castle. So that's basically Disneyland Paris. Is really, really beautiful. I was just blown away when I walked through actually you have to walk through the hotel to get to the park, which is a little bit different. Once I walked through the hotel and I got into the park, they gave me this ticket because I had to purchase a ticket to get in. This is one-day admission. I got Daisy Duck. Hopefully when I go there back today, I'll get Minnie Mouse because Minnie's my favorite character. But I walked to the park and I was blown away of how beautiful it is, how colorful it is. And the castle is just beautiful. You have to see it in person. One of the first things that I did was I saw Minnie Mouse and Daisy. They were at Town Square, but the line for Minnie was very, very long. They didn't have a waiting time, but it was, without kidding you, it was about a 2-hour line to meet Minnie at Town Square at Main Street. So I went to meet Daisy, and I noticed a lot of cultural differences between European Disneyland Paris and American Walt Disney World. That the guests, they act differently. For example, when I was in line to meet Daisy, there was a lot of guests cutting in line. Not a whole lot, but there was a few line cutters. Also, parents were very, how do I say this, liberal with their kids. So their kids, they were jumping and running around Main Street, and it was crazy. It was really chaotic being in line to meet Daisy. Which, by the way, let me show you now. Hi, Daisy, how are you? You look beautiful in your outfit. So, let me tell you something. I was gonna visit you tomorrow, but I couldn't wait, so I came today. But tomorrow, when I visit you again, you have to pretend like this. But I just love your outfit, so beautiful, and your shoes and your clothes. Did you made it or show up on it?
Non, non, franchement. Après, il a le choix. Non, je te préviens, c'est autre chose. Ah, pas de souci, ouais.
Very much, Daisy. I don't know if I told you this, but I came from Texas to see you, all the way over there, yeah. But I just wanted to see you in your beautiful blue outfit. Thank you very much.
Et vient du Texas.
So there's Daisy. I got to meet her. She was beautiful. And then I just kept walking around the park. I rode It's a Small World. I went to Big Thunder Mountain, which, by the way, Big Thunder Mountain in Disneyland Paris is the best one so far. I've been to the one in Disneyland and the one in Magic Kingdom, but the one at here at Disneyland Paris is the best. You have to ride it. But I hate the queue because the queue is like Magic Kingdoms, which is like a maze, and I hate the queue. I was in line for an hour. I was in line in that stupid maze of a queue for an hour waiting to ride Big Thunder Mountain, and I was really irritated by the time it was time for boarding. But oh my god, it was definitely worth the wait. Next time, if I go today, I'll get a fast pass because I'm not making the 1 hour line too. But my god, it was Big Thunder Mountain. Disneyland Paris is the best. I also rode Pirates of the Caribbean, which is different to Magic Kingdoms. I haven't been to the one in Disneyland, so I have nothing to compare it to, but it was definitely longer than Magic Kingdoms. I also rode Hyperspace Mountain, and it was fast. I saw a video on the history of Space Mountain in Disneyland Paris, and it's supposed to be like very themed in steampunk, and it's supposed to be like a rocket, like a launching you. It was the best. Of course, they have a theme with Star Wars, which I don't really care for Star Wars. But oh my gosh, Hyperspace Mountain at Disneyland Paris, it was great. Here's a little funny story about that. When I was in line for Hyperspace Mountain, there was this lady, I'm gonna say she's like 20, 22, a young lady next to me, and she kept trying to like cut in front of me. Like it was one of those lines that is really wide, so your perspective is different. But this lady kept, even though I was ahead of her and I got there before her, she kept trying to cut in front of me. She kept cutting in front of me, kind of like pushing me, shoving me away so she can be first. And guess what? She ended up sitting right next to me in the ride. And I wanted to tell her something, but I stood quiet. But I wanted to tell her, look at you. You were trying to get ahead of me, and yet you stay with me in the ride. But that's a little story with Hyperspace Mountain. Disneyland Paris is really beautiful. I did see a lot of major differences between Disneyland Paris and Magic Kingdom. I've been to Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World the most, so I'll be comparing it to Walt Disney World instead of Disneyland. But I saw a lot of differences, which I'm not going to mention all of them in the video today. I'm going to write it on my blog. But one of the differences that I noticed, first, their Wi-Fi is poor. Like at Walt Disney World, their Wi-Fi is super strong, and doesn't matter if you go from Magic Kingdom to Hollywood Studios to Epcot, you stay connected with the Walt Disney World Wi-Fi. Disneyland Paris Wi-Fi sucks, so keep that in mind. Also, this is a character perspective from characters, and I might ruin some of the magic here, so click away if you don't want me to ruin the magic. But I noticed that a lot of the character costumes were very worn out and used. For example, when I was walking through Adventureland, I came across Pluto out of nowhere, because Pluto's photo location is like in the weirdest place in Adventureland. So I met Pluto. Here's the video.
Hi,
This is my first time visiting Disneyland Paris. Can you believe that? Yeah, do you know where I came from? From Texas. You know where that is? Somewhere over there. Far away. So I came to see you and all your friends, and you look beautiful. So Pluto, I'm really hungry, so can you put me somewhere good to eat? Okay, I'll go to there. So we're making a video, so let's say hi. You look so adorable. Thank you, Pluto, for taking your time to say hi to me. I might see you again tomorrow.
you very much, Pluto. There we go.
And one thing that I noticed about the Pluto outfit is that the fur was super worn out. The fur was shedding among the fingers. So I'm like, man, Disneyland Paris costume department really needs to step it up, because this will not be acceptable at Walt Disney World. Their costumes are always in pristine condition. And you may say, oh, but that was that Pluto. But even though I only met Pluto and Daisy when I went there, I saw a lot of characters and I was examining them from afar, and their costumes were pretty worn out. And I was surprised by that the costume department doesn't manage that better. The other thing that I noticed was that, like in Walt Disney World and in Disneyland, they do give you photo pass cards if you don't have in Disney World you have the app. So if you don't have the app or the Magic Band, they'll give you a card. Here in Disneyland Paris, they actually have the photo pass card, which is a card that you give to the photographer. The photographer will scan it, and then when you go home, you can download all the pictures. But if you don't have that, they'll give you this, like they do at Magic Kingdom and at Disneyland. But here's another thing: not all characters have photographers. So when I met Pluto in the middle of Adventureland, Pluto didn't have a photographer. He only had a cast member. So all I could do is take a video. Daisy did have a photographer, so I got this from Daisy. But keep in mind, if you're gonna meet characters at Disneyland Paris, not all of them have not all of them have photographers, so get ready to have somebody take pictures for you, or have the cast member handle your phone or camera. I'm gonna be wrapping the video up because I have to go get some sleep. I'm gonna be in the park again in a few hours, and the video is getting too long. But what I was gonna say, God. Oh yeah, I do want to make a list of all the inappropriate things guests were doing at Disneyland Paris. It was nothing too extreme, but it was definitely stuff you're not gonna see at the American parks. But I just wondering, how do these guests manage to put selfie sticks? I saw a ton of guests with selfie sticks, and selfie sticks are banned at all Disney parks. You can't bring them in. And in Disneyland Paris, they do have security where they check your bag, but I don't know how these guests manage to bring selfie sticks, and they use them throughout the park. I was able to watch the parade, and right before the parade starts, they have the announcement, and part of the announcement was, please do not use selfie sticks. Selfie sticks are not allowed at Disneyland Paris. And I'm like, even with the announcer announcing no selfie sticks, there were people with selfie sticks recording the parade. I'm like, what's wrong with these people? But I'm gonna cut the video now. I need to go get some rest so I can go back to the park and make a better video. Thank you everybody for watching. Au revoir.
Hello. You may not know this, but I also went to Paris with Sammy. But Sammy doesn't care about me anymore. He only cares about those stupid mice. Bye-bye.